Hey, hi, good afternoon, good evening, and this is Rizvi from Dot School of Design. So, we are here today for a very interesting podcast where we are going to discuss about how design influences a startup. It's a very young startup, they are into stationaries and their brand is Endless Stationery. And we have two co-founders from the company, and we are going to discuss about how design influences a company and how design influences a product or a service and how they solve the problems on a day-to-day basis using design. So these are the very interesting things that we want to discuss about, and there are a lot of things that we will talk during the course of the podcast. And welcome you for this design startup series. So let's start with your humble beginnings. Like we can talk about your how you started, how did you end up in Endless, and in between, what are the things in between? So you can just share your journey.
So 2017, 2018, both of us were roommates in Bangalore.
Okay.
He was working with EY, I was working with Aether Energy. Both of us wanted to do something more. We wanted to build some very cool products.
So sorry to interrupt. What were you doing in Aether? It's
I
very
was
interesting.
working in the charging infrastructure team.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Yeah. And Dheeraj was a consultant at EY. And both the jobs were good, both of us were happy, but we wanted to do more. We wanted to do something bigger. So, one thing led to another, and two of us decided to start with making. We always wanted to make bigger products like pens, etc. We really loved stationery, and we thought we can make something, the next best thing in stationery, and that's how we got started. We started with notebooks. Fast forward to 2025, we have everything. We have from pens, notebooks, pouches, the whole line of products. And Dheeraj can tell you more from the design perspective what we wanted to really do.
So, what kind of roles you share, like what you do and what Dheeraj does, like in the company?
We both share a mutual love to ensure the company succeeds and not fails. That's pretty much the main thing we share. But both of us have kind of very complementary skill sets. He's far more mathematical, far more operations driven, more of the how to get stuff done kind of thing, rather than just like how like design focus or anything like that. I focus entirely on the other side of things, like how it works, how it works, something both of us do now, but more like how it looks, how it feels, how to market this product, how to position ourselves better, where do we take inspirations from, what products do we do. And then it's, but what happens is this is how I explain to people who ask me in general is that we both have very different domains of expertise, but at the level that both of us are in, I think the line is almost blurred out. At one point, it's more like just like who has a veto on things. Like if he says no, this is exactly what you have to do because of this, I'll just have to agree even if I probably don't agree with it, and vice versa as well. So it's more like now it's become far more collaborative than we began. But initially when we started the company, I have a reasonably good background in graphic design and things like that. I said, let's throw my artwork and stuff on notebook covers and start selling. And then he said, yeah, we can do that, because he knows e-commerce very well. He knows how to sell things. He knows that part. He knows how to put things out there and get money in, simply put. So, but that is a heavy talent driven, heavy personal and persona driven process. So if, for example, 3 months later, I just have a burnout, company is dead, because Bansali is not going to be designing. He only knows how to, let's say, put things forward outside. Or let's say Bansali has a burnout and doesn't know or doesn't want to sell for whatever reason. No matter what design I do, it's not going to move. True. So we realized that that can't be the strategy. It has to be independent of both of us. The company should have its own lifeline, right? It should develop on its own. It should have its own thing. At one point, we start listening to what the company needs, and that's basically technically the voice of the customer. It's basically them telling us, okay, this is what we are expecting from you guys. This is what we are expecting from the market. Then we listen to them. So that's what I would say. The company has its own persona as well. So there is actually a third entity in this game called the company itself. So it's not just both of us, and we have to do what the company needs more than just what both of us. Our egos, our decisions are all entirely second to what is good for the company.
That's cool. So just give us an idea about like what is Endless Stationery and what exactly it does and how big it is, and now where are your markets? And because the audience who are looking at this podcast would also like to know what exactly Endless Stationery is about.
Yep.
Just give a small introduction about the company.
So basically, Endless Stationery is a luxury stationery maker. We make, like I said, everything from notebooks, pens, inks, to pen pouches, a little bit of bags as well. And so we basically are a very highly design focused brand, and we make products that are exported to about 26 countries, and more than 1,500 stores worldwide carry our products. At this point, I think 95% plus is exported. So not too many people in India know about us yet, but in the US we are in place in stores like Blick Art Supply, which is one of the world's largest art supply chain, etc. So that's what Endless Stationery does. That's where we're placed right now.
Awesome, awesome. So, why Chennai? Because you guys were in Bangalore and then moved to Chennai, and you set up a company in Chennai, and now you don't sell in Chennai, but you sell it to other countries. Why Chennai?
No, we do sell in Chennai as
sell
well.
in Chennai.
Okay.
For example, one of the top stationery stores in India, which is luckily enough in Chennai, is Hindustan Trading Company, which is in Roypeta. They stock our products. We have a display there and things like that. Chennai, why Chennai? Both of us are slightly boring people as well. We know we are not the party animals. In case we're getting that vibe, no, we are not. We are very boring people. We like sleeping early, like watching movies for the pastimes. That's how we both are. Besides that, one of the key things, the minute you run a company, is that you need to optimize for costs of everything. And the cheapest way that both of us can breathe and survive is use our parents' money like house and cars and food instead of paying it by ourselves. So in Bangalore, we could have done that. Because Bangalore is kind of considered to be the startup hub or whatever. But why Chennai in the sense? I think Chennai has no less of offerings than any other city, and I mean, we both were born and brought up here. We have a lot of comforts here. For example, Aditya's extended family are all people who have extensive financial knowledge and accounting and all that. They're all just right there, right? We can just, it's not even a call away, it's just a door away. We just need to go talk to them and we get our problem sorted. And those kind of advantages exist. And more than show, I think it's very important for any startup founder to understand that they need to optimize for costs and convenience. And by that it means that work with the minimum viable, when you do product design, you say minimum viable product, right? Here you do like a minimum viable company. You just need to do the bare minimum to survive. For the first few years, Aditya and I didn't have an office. We worked out of a room out of his father's office. So we had half a table each, that's all we had. This is not necessarily to say that we struggled and all that, that's not, we were very happy. The point is we just operated with the minimum amount of stuff that is required to just keep the company going.
Awesome. That's why you're boring.
Yeah. And also, the question is why? It's not supposed to be why Chennai. Why not Chennai? Because we've lived there, we've worked there in companies. There's nothing different. Let's be honest. Talent, especially in what we're doing, we're very happy with the talent that is there here. The environment is very conducive. In fact, the boring part makes it very easy because there's no distraction for people. You know, they can come to work, do their thing, and get back. There's no other distractions that they have to go into. So Chennai is really not a problem. And maybe in IT software, talent would have been a little harder to find. Maybe, again, I don't know. But with what we are doing, we have absolutely nothing that we are losing out by not being in Chennai. So it's more like, why not Chennai?
Awesome. So apart from Endless Stationery, so do you do anything else, or you just focus completely on industry? This is your full-time
gig.
full-time.
Yeah, I think it's
Okay.
enough work is there for full-time thing.
Yeah,
We
that's
want to
a little
do more
than
things.
full-time.
Yeah, we want to do more, but no, I think this
Yeah, it's beyond full time, the commitment.
it's all the time.
Yeah, it's
No,
all
I keep telling, like I've read this somewhere, and I keep telling to a lot of people. I keep telling to myself first that making money isn't boring, spending money isn't excitement. So there are a lot of monotonous tasks where that is how you can make money.
Yeah.
But if you go for excitement, if you go for experience, those places you are going to spend money but not make money. So in that way, I think you have that kind of culture right from the beginning in Endless, and awesome. So to you, Dheeraj, so design-led startup,
Yeah.
and how design influences your company. If it is influencing, so is it really reflecting in the balance sheet or in the P&L profit and loss? If not, how design is influencing?
So here I want to understand and also explain what design means. First of all, I think many people assume that design just means aesthetics. That is probably the biggest misconception that we face all the time is, oh, it's designed well means they think it looks good. That's all they think it is. In fact, the light that is here is designed well, right? Because you just told me that it's removing my eye glare, which is something I never knew. Probably to look at it, it's not something I'll take home, but it is designed very well. So many people assume that good design equals good looks. It's not. Good design is functional, good design is invisible most of the time. Some of the most functional items are just invisible, you don't notice them. A simple corrugated box, a simple pizza box, a pizza table that comes on the crust of your cheese, they're not very pleasing to look at. It's just a three-legged thing that you throw away in the dustbin the minute your pizza comes. But that's excellent design. So first we need to understand what good design is, because good design is not just how, as Steve Jobs, quoting Steve Jobs, like it's not how it looks, it's more about how the way it works. When you say design led, what I think it means is that, how I would summarize it, setting aside the ego of the people in the company, the founders and the staff who are working there, you're bringing the customer into that space and saying, my customer should feel good when they use this product. I think that is simply what design led companies should be doing and is defined by. It doesn't matter if your end customer doesn't care about the color. Let's say for some random reason all your customers are colorblind. Example, let me give you a random. What use is you putting all colors on your products, right? You can just make everything black and white. This is starting with something as absurd as this example. You have to define what your customer is, and everyone has a customer, otherwise you don't have a business. So you need to figure out what your customer needs, and that will become a part of your design requirement and a functional requirement. So there is a theory of design called as axiomatic design, which is pioneered in MIT as well. Thing is, there's a lot of functional requirements, design requirements, and all these things have to be connected to each other. There's Design of Everyday Things by Don Norman, which I think must read for everyone. All these things, what they dictate is, it's not about looks. It has nothing to do with looks. Looks is also actually a design requirement. Some products don't need to look good. Looks is actually a requirement. Looks is not a necessity. It can look like trash too. Like, it doesn't matter. An oven packet doesn't need to convey, doesn't need to look so elegant like something you'd buy from Starbucks. It just needs to say whether it's fat or not, whether it's, my mom and my maid need to understand, oh, green packet, pacha packet konduva, or blue packet konduva. That's pretty much the requirement. That's done. It's very well designed.
Yes.
So yeah. So, and how does it reflect on the balance sheet? It does. Because the minute you do a well-designed product, it will sell well. Once it sells well, it reflects on your balance sheet.
Yeah, that's what I want to validate. So it does sell well.
Of course.
Yes. So it's simple. Once you have your basics set out
I just
and
want
done.
to put a background here. There's a little bit of context because you are in a stationery domain, and it's not something new. You have a huge competition for
Correct.
stationery, and it's not a new domain. It's been there for 150, 200 years. I mean, we
Absolutely.
can say it for 1,000 years also, right? From 2,000 years maybe. ஓலச்சுடியிலிருந்து
Yeah,
stationery is available.
stationery has been there since
It's
ever.
been there, and that's one of the primary communication tool for human beings before digital involved. And already you have a big players playing in that domain, and you have a huge competition. So that being the context, so is design playing a role as a strategic differentiator when compared to that domain, the competition, I would say, or how is it playing? Like, I just want to build a context here.
So see, choosing what design. So what is design? Like Dheeraj said, what your customer wants, the needs, capturing the needs properly, and giving all the stuff that they need is good design. So similarly, since we are in stationery, like so for 2,000 years, people have been making pens. Now we have probably a few hundred companies, a few thousand companies making pens. Now, if we were to go to someone who's buying a Flair pen or a 10 rupee Reynolds pen, and if Flair or Reynolds says, let's make a very pretty looking pen, it's okay if it costs a little more. Obviously, it's not going to sell, in fact, it might end up selling less just because it's 5 rupees more. So someone who's going out there to buy a 10 rupee pen wants to write with it and throw it in the dustbin, and that's probably it. But someone who's coming to us is coming to us and paying such a premium because they want a good looking product. So here the core of design is to understand what your customer requires, and one of the major requirements for our customers is it has to look pretty, because there are 5 pens that are doing their job well. We won't say that our pen is doing the job better than anyone else. They're probably equal or slightly better, but that slightly better is not going to cut it. So we have to make it pretty. So capturing the need of the customer here is important, and doing it well. So he really wants it to be pretty, we make it pretty, automatically sales will go up, automatically the balance sheet will do well. So design is as simple as that. A Renault's trying to make a very pretty pen is not going to make a dent in their market or the balance sheet. So
Because I've met a lot of startup founders and people who are in the business for a very long time. Like 10-15 years back, when somebody starts a business, even I'm not talking about 10-15 years, even before that. So when somebody starts a business, the first thing that comes into their mind is, let's keep this business floating through financial management and through, say, better HR or through better supply chain management. The price advantage is there, right? So how to make it cheaper and how to sell more and financially manage it well so that we get profits. So the first thing, the mindset, it's a mindset of people. If you go and ask somebody, any small retail store or anybody, if you go and ask, why did you start a business? For them, this is not a passion. They need a source of revenue, so they start their business. And first thing that comes into the mind is revenue, fits the revenue, and then we'll think about rest. But here, I'm just saying, it's my opinion. Because you both are from a well-off family, you have a better financial background. So you have that little bit leverage to think about design, even if the business doesn't perform well. You thought about design and eventually it performed well. But is it only people who have a financial background can afford to put design in their thought process when starting a business?
So I think our personal backgrounds are absolutely irrelevant to the company. Whether we are well off or not is extremely irrelevant, because you could be very rich and fail, you could be very poor and succeed. I don't think that makes any difference whatsoever. What you probably would want to know and mean to ask the writer question would be, maybe we are better exposed. Now that comes because of, again, a lot advantage. That again doesn't have necessarily everything to do with finance. Probably because families which have a little bit of, let's say they're well off, probably the kids can get to learn a bit more. Probably they went to better schools, probably they had better friends. Yes, that helps for sure. But is that a advantage that nobody else can cross over? Absolutely not. So me and Aditya being from any sort of family backgrounds has absolutely nothing to do, no bearing on the company. If anything, that would make us probably more complacent and not do the company, because like, who cares? So that is not at all the approach. We, at least both of us took. I'm not going to comment on how everybody works. Our personal backgrounds are absolutely irrelevant to the company. In fact, it has everything to do with, we go and pack orders like I don't know, people who
No, in terms of design, I'm thinking. So
even in terms of design also, how that makes a difference is what you want to do with the company. Depends on what the business is requiring, what you're selling, and what you need to provide to your customer. Actually more than customer, the user, the end user, whoever is using. Because me and Aditya also have a significant part of our business where our customer is technically a distributor or retailer, but a user is the end person, like someone who's using the pen. So those two levels are also very important. So for our distributor, the packaging design matters the most. In fact, for example, if I probably a customer will not care that this looks pretty, I don't know. But my distributor and retailer worry about it. He make the packaging really good. When I give it to my shop, customer should walk in. I don't know if the customer told that to him. I mean, we both love good design, so we both make it pretty by our choice. But there are a lot of design decisions we have taken based on our customers and not our users also. How do we package? We shrink wrap the bottle and then we shrink wrap it inside another package. That is not a user driven feedback. It is more of a customer driven feedback, because that is our retailer telling us, hey, it might leak or it might break or it might this thing. Now they don't, but then that is not a, psychologically, I was explaining to you about the pen clip situation, right? It's psychologically how it helps them. If you want to add anything.
So also this misconception that design costs money. So that's probably the biggest misconception. Simple thing. Just this little box that we have and this we have here. So if you were to buy a Chef pen or something like that, so what would happen is, we by the way, we've used boxes that are generic and available in the market, and then we went ahead and made this. So our end customer's goal is for the box to be giftable or useful and pretty. Very important. If it's not pretty, they may not pick it up, especially because that's our customer requirement. Now, if I were to go with a generic box, that costs me around, let's say, approximately 100 rupees. And these are real numbers that we've gotten. And this costs probably half of that. But this is made of cork. And we went the extra mile to find something that is cheaper, looks prettier, has more function, and and is talked about. So it serves all the function. Here we didn't spend any extra money. In fact, we made money. We saved money, which is money saved is money earned. So that's very important. So good design will make you money. It doesn't affect the balance sheet. So that one misconception has to go away. You can do whatever you want. Maybe sometimes quality of materials. You need to do best with what you have, and not everyone goes the extra mile. Going the extra mile in trying to fulfill the customer requirements, putting that a little extra thought. And see, this doubles up as a test stand. So customers perceive the value to be more now. They are thinking they're getting two products. Otherwise, this would have been a standalone product. Right. And now suddenly he might be willing to pay a $10 extra for the same product, and it's a win-win for him, us, and everyone involved over here. So good design doesn't have to cost any money at all, actually.
That's very interesting, because a lot of companies have this misconception. They think, because they don't understand the design part very well. Like you clearly said, that design is about removing the egos, biases of the team, of the company, and focus only on the customer. That is one of the most incredible definitions I've heard about design so far. So as you said about the packaging, you saved money in terms of giving good design. So
yes.
That is also possible. And another thing is, design changes from business to business based on the customer's feedback. So what next is the journey of Endless? Like how you are moving ahead? Is it going to be a stationery brand, or what is the next stage? How design is going to influence that?
So this is where probably both of us need to put our being back, both of us into the equation, is what we also want to do. Both of us probably want to build the next Apple, but if anyone's watching and giving us money, please. But then, thing is, what we want to keep, so the company has a brand, right? For example, Endless can't go make Syntex tanks, for example. We can't make those. We have probably the money also to make it. We have probably the supplier for it, but it won't fit the brand.
No, it's like Manikchand Oxyrich mineral water.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly, definitely. So right now, as I told you in the beginning, right, Endless is a third entity now. It's telling us what it wants. So what this company needs is something that we have to assess. For example, right now we'll be launching a few more pens, innovative stuff with the way they're made, materials and things like that. That will probably be a good direction of expansion. We got a lot more into diversification of our product portfolio into more office goods space. So we started doing pouches, we are doing some messenger bags and things like that. We'll see if one of those directions work. Again, the point is, we can't stretch ourselves too thin, and just because we're capable of making everything, we can't make everything. We can also source excellent sarees from Kanchipuram, but we can't sell it because it won't fit in Endless. So the thing is, we need to understand what the brand needs. In that, we also are trying, one other very good benchmark is competitors. What do they do generally? How have successful companies in this space evolved over time? Like today, Aditya and I were in Bombay yesterday, and we walked into a stationery store, a very well-known store in fact, and we walked into the store and we found out that that same store, we've been going to Bombay and that airport for the last 3-4 years. And every time we go, we kind of get a feeling of what this company is selling the minute you go into the store. It used to be exclusively only stationery products, pens, and slowly it became pens and wallets. Slowly pens and wallets, and some accessories like Apple the Apple tag keychains. Slowly, then wallets became pouches. Pouches became bag. Yesterday we went, 70 to 80% of the store was just bags. Proper full-fledged laptop bags, messenger bags, in the same store that me and Aditya have grown up over many years seeing only stationery products. So we don't know what the definition is also. So you need to stay quick. Earlier tech products probably only meant PCs. Now today tech product is a tab, a smartwatch, a fitness band, a fitness ring, earphones. They're all tech products, right? So
No, when you talk about tech, I just want to interrupt here.
yeah, please.
We are seeing a lot of white labeling happening in the tech industry.
Yeah.
We can say it like lot of earpod companies and trimmer companies. I don't want to take the name.
Yeah, I know
When
what
I
you're
say,
talking
you
about.
know
Yeah.
which
Yeah,
brand
grooming
it is.
companies, yeah.
Okay, and all of them. So what I do with my students is I take their product and put it in Google image search. The first result would be in Alibaba's picture.
True.
So, how do you take this? Like, because see, you guys are putting your energy into creating something, designing your own product, and there are a lot of companies doing it. But the real game winners are actually doing the white labeling part. So, how is this culture or how is this trend going to be in the near future?
It's a two-part problem. One is probably that's what we need. You don't, for example, when towels were made for the first time, probably, I don't know, I'm just giving you a random example. Maybe Bombay Dyeing was the only one making those turkey towels. Today it doesn't matter. Today anybody wants just a towel that has the same feeling. They can go buy in Naidu Hall, they can go buy in Max, they can buy in Zara, they can buy in, I don't know, whatever brand that makes turkey towel, they don't care. Muji, Miniso, whatever. Maybe that is what it is. I think the product's eventual life cycle will end up being a basic necessity, and at that point it doesn't matter. Post-it notes were only made by Post-it now, though everybody makes, right?
Yes.
So maybe that's what the market needs in that space. Maybe that's what the maturity has hit. First thing. Second thing is there is nothing wrong with that, honestly. It's also a question of manufacturability, capabilities, and things like that. It's not necessarily a wrong thing to take something and sell it better. Like, for example, let's just say people think for some reason that only the product matters. No, the design, the sales strategy behind it matters. Distributor, who is your distributor matters. How much of a hustler that distributor matters. Retailer matters. Location matters. Simply by the virtue of placing your store in a better mall can lead you to more sales, even if you have a much more terrible product. So it doesn't really, you can't just encompass and say that just because this is white labeled or whatever, this is a bad product. If you're able to position it better, why not? And if
That's
you're able
also
to
design.
Yeah.
The entire thing is design. It's not just the product alone that's the design.
yeah, if you're able
No,
to
this is a very classic example of small tea shops that we see in the end of the road,
yeah,
and also chayos.
yeah, yeah.
Chayos put the same tea in a mall, and it has a different brand perception. It sells really well.
Yeah.
So your point is like white labeling is not bad.
No.
If needed, we would.
Yeah.
Companies
I'll
had
also
to
add
do it.
something, yeah.
See, at the end of the day, getting a product is not enough. Getting the product to in front of the customer is 50% of the equation. You can build the world's best product, but if you keep it in one area of Chennai like Annanagar or Ambattur, and you don't.
நல்ல area தான்டா அது.
No, but if you, the point is, if you only keep it in one place and you don't take it to the world.
ஏங்க அவரு லண்டன் இதெல்லாம் பார்த்துட்டு அண்ணா நகர் அம்பத்தூர்லாம் வந்து ஒரு பெரிய ஏரியாவே தெரிய மாட்டேங்குது அவருக்கு.
உயிர் சென்னையில் இருக்கு.
Nice.
புருஷவாக்கம் பையங்க அவன். He's not even அடையார். நீ நம்ம ஏரியா தான் கொஞ்சம் அந்த பக்கம் தள்ளி அயனாவரம் சைடு. Yeah.
So the thing is, if you just market it in India, for example, and if it's a world class product, it deserves to be marketed outside. Now if there is someone who knows how to market it outside, even if they're buying it somewhere and marketing it outside, they are going to win the game. And you really need to learn to do that and go out there and do that. So a lot of Indian companies make excellent products. This Kolhapuri chappal thing, they should have gone out there and marketed it rather than complaints when someone took it and started marketing it. So 50% is marketing, 50% is product, and that 50% not just marketing, placing the product,
distribution,
ensuring it's there with the right distributor, placing it, putting it in the hands of influencers if you have to, or whatever. It can be different for different products, but if you don't take it out there, you keep the world's best television manufactured and I want to just sell in India or just sell in Chennai or whatever, the full potential of the product is not met. And if there is someone who can do it better, what's the harm?
So it's like partly the success of a product relies on marketing. Marketing includes distribution channels,
Yes.
supply chain, how you advertise it. All those things is 50%,
and it's all design. Everything
50% is the actual product. So many people win in both the ways. The design.
I would even go so far as to say that marketing distribution is probably a bigger player than this. Very simple example. This new toy trend, Labubu.
Labubu, yeah.
A Lego toy is far more useful.
Advanced.
Advanced, that's so
And that's just a soft toy, right?
exactly,
Like
right? So, but they're able to, they're everywhere. They are bloody everywhere, right? And how are they able to do it? Good distribution, good product placement. Everybody's carrying it. They got the fact that stock was up some 60 or 70% in China when I checked like last week. So,
even a product liquid death.
yeah, I think I know this one. Yeah,
Yeah, liquid death. It's just a water
yeah.
packed in a tin.
Is it that influencer in the US or someone who
Yeah,
did
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Yeah,
That's the one, that's the one.
yeah.
It's just plain water
Yeah, exactly,
packed in a tin.
exactly.
And because he had that his own distribution channel, he had like lot of millions of followers, and he's able to sell water at a premium price.
For sure,
Exactly.
yeah, it helps.
And even the Prime, or there are a lot of examples where distribution overpowered the overall idea of the product.
Absolutely.
It always works that way.
Always. In fact, in today's world, if you're able to create the content and the distribution through social media, influencing or whatever, that's probably a bigger superpower than having an ad budget. So people, it's become democratized. So someone sitting in their house can really market to someone sitting in the US, and that was not possible 25, 30 years back.
And that's what we
Power
did.
of the internet.
I am from Mogappair. This guy is from Ayanavaram. But someone in Detroit and someone in Denver, Colorado is using our notebook and ink and saying, "Oh, this feels nice." And I am sitting in my house clothes in one corner of one of the not even the biggest metropolitan city in India, and I'm just sitting and reading it out of my bedroom. That's all power of how we managed to place it there. And it's not like super hard. None of this is magic. None of this is impossible. It's just that we did it. Some people choose not to do it, and some people don't even know they can do it.
So if you take a chronological audit here, so first is design of the product,
Yes.
and what that product is made of and why it is made, and then comes the distribution channel.
Yeah.
And on top of it, another layer is the overall financial and supply chain management.
100%.
So this is how you build the company, and this is how I think any young designer or an entrepreneur who watching this podcast can take this as a
Already, as per what you said itself, is design of the product is only 33% of the process. You said 3
yes,
points.
3 points. Yeah, 33 is the
Already, we are down from 50.
because there are two majorly I can classify two kinds of audience. One, nothing. They think design doesn't play a part, and another thing another part think that design plays a major part.
Yeah.
Both are wrong. So both. The thing is, as you said, 33% is a major. No, it's not a major share, and it is not a less share also. So design has to be there where it has to be, and there are other elements in building the business that also had to be in that particular place. Otherwise, a business is incomplete.
100%.
And then the definition of design itself, right? Like some people, I don't think my mom really cares how good the mop looks.
Yeah.
It just needs to work. My mom's major complaint is the thread shouldn't come off. That's literally her only concern. Adu nee pink color la kudtana, purple color la kudtana, black color la kudtana. If I sit and design, I'll be like, let's make it matte black. Let's add a red streak. Let's add LED light. My mom doesn't care. அவங்களுக்கு வந்து ஸ்வீப் பண்ணும்போது அந்த த்ரெட் வந்து வரக்கூடாது, அவ்வளோதான் மேட்டர். No, that's all my mom cares about. And me designing that is not wrong, and my mom expecting this is not wrong either. It's just that you need to figure out what your customer do. Overdoing is also like overdoing nonsense and calling it good design is many companies do that, and we both of us also get very irritated.
When we talk about moms, a classic example is Whirlpool, Samsung, Panasonic, and all these companies have lot of research and kinds of finding out the trends in material, finish, graphics, and everything. They put a very good floral design based on the Indian context on the top of the refrigerator. And here goes my mom, takes a cover, buys for 59 rupees or 19 rupees in Amazon, puts it on top of it.
Absolutely, exactly right.
So there's a small thing. So he said the mop. Now you need to understand, his mom wouldn't care about what the rod of the mop's color is, etc. She would care about the thread not coming off. Maybe you can do a little bit more research on what sort of knot will ensure that it doesn't come off.
That
or
is
what
design.
sort of material. That is design. Getting the right thing, doing the right thing where it is required. You can have an industrial designer come and say, okay, let's make the top look good, matte, like he said. What's the point? You're wasting money. So good design shouldn't cost money necessarily.
So there is this guy in Instagram. His page is called Unnecessary Inventions.
I know.
Oh yeah.
You know him,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I love him.
He's the best.
I love him.
Dude, he actually makes some good stuff once in a while.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
But he doesn't sell them though. That's the only
Yeah,
thing.
but he actually makes good stuff
Yes,
too.
actually, it was meant to be a spoof,
Parody.
parody kind of thing, but then he ends
He's
up
good.
making good stuff.
There's one tray he made where the drink doesn't spill and
Yes.
popcorn doesn't go. Dude, PVR should buy that
Yeah.
idea. He made like an unnecessary, but it's so cool. Like a lot of many products he does is amazingly.
In fact, he made a video where people in Alibaba started taking his inventions, some
Yes,
of them which
yes.
were useful, and they started selling them to end consumer. He was very happy about it, and that makes sense also.
So, me and my friends used to talk about this, like how China became China and what lessons we can learn from India. And I know you, both of you, like you travel to China very frequently and you have seen how things happen there.
Yeah.
So, is this quote working out for China, like fake it till you make it?
I think no. I think they're more worried about. I don't think fake it till you make it will really apply there, because for them it's more about actually, you know what they want is they try to say the minimal number of no's. What I mean by that is when you go to them and say, hey, I want to make this, they will try their best not to say no. Versus India and certain other countries and many vendors we meet, they will do their best to say no. In China, the first answer is, okay, let's try.
Yeah.
I mean, unless we propose some absurd nonsense, like make this, I don't know, some random thing out of carbon fiber or make it out of uranium or some crap like that, yeah, of course. I'm not about irrelevant stuff. Anything that you go, I'm not even talking about China, I can include a lot more manufacturing sector driven countries. Even locations for that matter. Even in India, there are a lot of places like that. If you go to Kanchipuram and ask them to be like, "Sari, in the color panna," the most likely answer you'll get is yes. Tirupur panna, in the mari satta panna, pannuvan solluvan. It's more about the attitude of that geography. I think it's ingrained in DNA of China, Taiwan, Japan, Germany, Vietnam, Indonesia, Philippines, and all these countries now. A lot of the Southeast Asian countries, is that they try their best not to say no. And for them, the fastest way to get the no out of the way is the way they'll take. Path of least resistance. For example, they don't care about fake it till you make it. They're like, customer wants this, why do you want to say no? He doesn't care. எனக்கு வந்து இந்த மாதிரி அழகான உனக்கு ஒரு சூட்கேஸ், ஐம் சாரி டு டேக் த நேம் பட் ரிமூவா ஆர் டூ மீ ஓ வாட் இந்த மாதிரி சூட்கேஸ் என்னால் வாங்க முடியாதுப்பா, $1000 எதுக்கு? Really funny enough, it's being made there only. Same factory can make the fake also. Now, doesn't, see again, there's an ethical boundary here. Definitely there's an ethical boundary. I'm not saying, I'm not supporting plagiarism. I'm not supporting fake goods at all, because we also have a product company and we would be pretty upset if it's fake. But that has led to a lot of good things also. Like they try their best to say not no, and they try to do something. If the customer wants something or the user wants something, they will try to make it happen. And let's say they don't want to make it happen, no, they'll make a fake out of it.
The ultimate classic is Tesla versus BYD.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So
we were in the UK last month, and our distributor was driving us around in a Tesla, and we also happened to go to the BYD showroom in China. We went to every car showroom because we love cars. We love good, well-designed cars. Now, after you sit in a BYD and you sit in a Tesla, you see the interiors. I don't think anyone who's actually test-driven both or has sat in both is going to have any two ways about it. The BYD is up here, the Tesla is down here, and you know those guys tried hard and they actually went one up in every way against the Tesla. And it's a clear winner. No, they understood the customers. Customers want more features. They want more things in the car. They don't just want a plain thing inside. How long will just the brand last? You know, marketing and branding alone was something where Tesla was much better at. Now, that advantage, obviously, again, those guys were really good when it came to the technology. They pioneered it. They did all of that, but they didn't keep up when it comes to the interiors and some of the features, etc. Pricing, etc. And the other guys, the competition went ahead and changed the game. So keeping up with the competition is also important. But now, if you were to sit in a BYD, it is any day better. I don't think you're going to. And this comes from a Tesla fanboy. I have followed every launch since 2014, 2013. I've known Tesla and SpaceX, but today BYD is just better.
And I want to give credit where's due. Mahindra, dude.
Mahindra.
Oh,
Mahindra
B60.
is killing it.
B60 and the B90.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you'll probably want to buy that as opposed to a Model Y that's launching for 60 lakhs. Because that car is really better equipped than the Tesla Model Y today. Probably a little lesser range, but then you're paying half the price, so who cares?
nice.
It's really insane. What Indian company is doing something that's better than Tesla. The cars are really insane. They look better than I'd say 99% of the international cars also.
Germans and
Yeah,
Italians,
Germans. I'm talking about they're as good as any supercar
Yeah.
when it comes to the looks. And again, from someone who really loves Tesla and Elon Musk, these guys have killed it. You don't have to go all the way to BYD. You can just go all the way to Mahindra and see someone in India has designed something that great.
But before we start in B60 and all those cars, my Nexon EV versus a Tesla Model Y that I took a taxi in. I love my Nexon. It's so much more comfortable, much more, and it's at what fraction of the price. And that car is totally unique. I have not found a car that looks like it. Like I can't say, oh, this looks like that model. I am not able to place a model. It looks like all the design students in the world portfolio notebook just literally come to life.
It's a concept car that they just made, and
it is
they didn't cut out anything.
Good. Exactly, and exactly. They didn't cut. They tried to make it like not like functional. It's just, but it exists, and it's so bloody beautiful in every which way.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask you another question, which is about like how to crack international market for a smaller D2C companies in India. Because you are into stationery and you cracked UK, Europe and US market, right? So, and being in Chennai and being a product like a stationery. So, how were you able to do that?
Basically, so there was a reason why we went international initially. One, we always wanted to make an international brand. That was something at the core of our whatever we build, we want to build for the world and not just for one geography. We started with that approach. So we didn't want Indian products to be just sold in India. Every big company you talk about is an MNC, goes all over the world, is famous all over the world. And there's one more very important thing. As part of our initial strategy, you get more respect in India once people outside India respect your product more.
True.
And that was the strategy. So how we went about it was fairly simple. We started sending emails to every stationery store outside India we could find. We started cold mailing. Every day we would send about 25 to 50 cold mails. Amongst the two of us, we would divide the work, we would do it. We would write to them, we would call them. We used cold sampling. We used to send samples for free. Just write a nice letter, print it, sign it.
For many years, I think we hand wrote letters also.
So doing all of this grunt work. So this we are sitting here and doing. That's what got us started. We've probably got our first 100 to 150 stores just doing this. Most importantly, you need to try and understand what that market wants. You can't design for an Indian customer and expect someone outside India to just pick it up as is. So that's where all the credit goes to Dheeraj, where his understanding, using just the internet initially, he would try and understand what people wanted. There are so many forums that discuss very trivial things like the design of a notebook to the design of a bike handle. So there are forums, there's Reddit, there's endless forums online. You spend your time researching more about your products. Pinterest, Instagram, going and following pages where people have post about these, be part of these online Discord communities, etc. He would put in that time and effort to go and understand, ping those guys. Those guys are very helpful. Random people are helpful on the internet. Send them a DM on Instagram and they'll reply and tell you why they want what they want, etc. Ask them questions. Ask them if will you be ready to beta test a product. We have people all over the world who happily beta test our products even before we launch them. We just send out some 10 couriers and we get some excellent feedback. Our pen design, for example, changed maybe thrice simply based on the feedback that came from all these guys who are using our 3D prints and telling us, don't do this, remove this. So all of that goes to thinking a little bigger, to go outside you have to think big, and once you start that, everything else is figure outable. You just need to want to do it first to start with.
It all comes down to the thought process, right? Like அதை பண்ணணும், இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு பாசிபிலிட்டி இருக்குது, இது இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு விஷயம் வந்து ஒரு ஃபைவர்னு ஒன்று இருக்குது, இல்லை அப்வொர்க்குன்னு ஒன்று இருக்குது, அங்கே கொடுத்து நம்ம வேலை வாங்க முடியும் அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு விஷயம் வந்து இட் இஸ் அ தாட் ப்ராசஸ் ஆஃப் மேக்கிங் திங்ஸ் ஒர்க். ஸோ ஹவு டு யூ like see most of the audience who are watching this podcast are either design students or aspirants or entrepreneurial aspirants who wants to start a business. So these are the audience. So to that audience, I just wanted to, like, you can individually answer. The question is, say, imagine I am a 20-year-old design aspirant or somebody who wants to start a business. in terms of building something as scratch as like this. Like you started from scratch, it's literally scratch, right? And going from zero to putting your products in US and top retailer in US. So what are the step by step roadmap that one should do? Say step 1, step 2, step 3. Can you just elaborately explain us how to go, take what kind of direction to take for a 20-year-old?
Right. So 20-year-old in 2025 is a very powerful position to be. First of all, you have a lot of time. Second, AI is cheap. You have ChatGPT for free. So if you tell me that, oh, I can't figure something out, I will not believe you, because you can literally go on. I mean, earlier at least you had to go on Google and type something and like, na result 10th page varaikkum pova mudiyadhu. I get it. But today, if you say that you can't figure out something with ChatGPT, so today especially we are living like in the notebook which I had a idea, probably ChatGPT would recommend it to you today.
Yeah, for real.
For real. So
you just
because,
have to give your problem and
you have to give a problem, it will give you a solution. So I think the first thing that they need to understand, they have no limitations, which means that opens up a whole new way to work things out. They don't need to follow traditional marketing patterns. They don't need to follow traditional routes. They can literally come up with their own routes. Having said that, a roadmap still would be required. Is first is they need to understand what market they're working with, what domain that they're working with, and is that domain in a sunset industry or a sunrise industry or stagnant industry, doesn't matter. But whatever it is, you need to understand what is the nature of that domain. Do you want to go make record players and film cameras? Please, I mean, okay, if you really want to go for it, but not a great idea, not a good idea. You want to start a repair shop for repairing these? Yeah, probably good business, because a lot of collectors will pay a lot of money. So you need to figure out what it is that you are trying to do. The market first purinjukano, in which domain. I mean, this is provided you have an idea as to this is what I want to do. I want to make I don't know, a t-shirt abdina, then you need to understand which kind of t-shirts are doing. But t-shirts probably a very good example, but because as long as human beings are alive, we'll probably be clothed. So thing is, you need to understand what domain you're working in, and then the next step would be to make the product itself an MVP, a reasonably good MVP. Sometimes it is not possible. For example,
MVP, can you just
minimum viable product.
Minimum viable product.
Yeah,
okay.
just like the basic minimum.
What goes into MVP? Because which is that bare minimum?
If I give the product to you and you're able to understand me you're unable to understand the product without me telling you anything, it's MVP.
Okay.
That is bare bones, bare minimum. It doesn't need to look beautiful. It doesn't need to like have a best surface finish. If I give you something, are you able to figure it out on your own? This is zip, this is insert pannu. அப்படின்னு உங்களுக்கு புரிஞ்சு போச்சுன்னா that's MVP. அதுக்கு மேலே எங்கள் ஜிப் இல்லை, பட் ஐ புட் யூ ஃபெவிக்விக் நீங்கள் வச்சு பிளேடை போட்டு அறுத்து தான் நான் பவுச் திறக்கணும் பண்ணலாம்ல. I mean, that could be an option. That's not an MVP.
That's a prototype.
That's a prototype. An MVP is like maybe not the final product, but a bare minimum of what I can give it to you and you can understand from just by touching the product, this is what it does. Software, the equivalent would be you see the UI and understand what to do, where the buttons are, how to click, instructions are clear. And once you do an MVP, probably the most important part of this process is to test a lot, as much as you can, with preferably your target demographic, mudilana at least some feedback, because people who are not from your domain also will give you very interesting feedback. People may not, the many people who will be like, na penne use pandradilla edhuk found that's retractable, but our Kickstarter customers beg to differ. So you preferably need to put it in the hands of people who know something about it. Just because they are good at something doesn't mean they'll have valuable opinions on it. You need to understand, you need to test a lot of user testing is required. So you need to understand your market, where it is going. Is it a rising industry? Is it a setting industry? Is it a stagnant industry? What is the capability of growth on it? Like sometimes one industry might not grow as much as you think. Like it might be doing very well. Like automotive industry.
Prerequisite is to know which problem they are going to solve. So that they should know, 100%. And then they should
market
understand the market.
See if it's a big enough problem to solve.
Big enough.
That is a market.
That will be the market study. Okay. Then MVP, then testing. Then on the testing and MVP, if you rotate enough, you'll end up at one point where you can sell your product at a good. அதுக்கப்புறம் கண்டிப்பா changes வரும். That's how it works. No matter how much you think you have perfected the product, once it goes into the hands of people who you have never met and they're seeing your product, and when you're not smiling, they're like, please your product புடிச்சிருக்குன்னு சொல்லுங்க சார் அப்படின்னு. When you're not there and when the true honesty comes out, that's when you start facing real feedback. அடச்சி இப்படியா பண்ணியிருக்க, ஐயா இதில் என்ன அழுக்கு, ஐயோ இது கூட க்ளீன் பண்ண மாட்டீங்களா, இப்போ நான் உங்ககிட்ட கொடுத்தாலும் நான் எங்கள் அம்மா கிட்ட கொடுத்து எங்கள் அம்மா கிட்ட கொடுத்து வாவ் இந்த மாதிரி பெண்ணுனே நான் இப்போ தான் முதல் தடவை பார்க்குறேன்னா ஃபீட்பேக் மை மாம் will give. But my customer is not going to be so kind. So yeah, I'll let Aditya also share.
So once first is what is the problem and how big the problem is, and then you build an MVP, and then you go and test it out. So now
Test it with customers,
test it
real
with
customers
customers.
as far
Now
as
you got a
possible.
product. So from there, what is the roadmap?
There's just one thing I want to add to this entire thing. When you're checking your market, you've defined your problem, you need to see what your competition is doing, because that's very important. Benchmarking. So there, it might not even be worth solving if there are 500 people doing the same thing, or if they're doing it at such margins. There might be problems that are unsolvable. There might be a very big moat to solving it, and there's a good reason why people are not doing it. So figuring that out is one of those things. And then coming back to after you've made your product, so there's a how do you get to market? So you have to figure out where your customers are going to be. So like we had mentioned earlier, your customers may be the end customers buying stationery from stores, but your real paying customer is the store owner in many cases, or the distributor. So you have to speak to a lot of them. You have to go out there, meet them, call them, cold mail them, understand what they require, because you need to put yourself in their shoes and understand they may want margins, they may want a credit period, they may want delivery within 2 days, depending on what you're selling. So there are lots of things. They may want to stock very little, they may want to stock a lot. All of these small intricacies, business intricacies, you'll have to understand from them, and try and ensure you tailor your products, supply chain, your manufacturing, etc. to that, because and only when they make money will you make money, and in turn they will come back to you for repeat orders. So for different products it can be different things. D2C products, now you have online sales channels where you don't need to do a lot of these things sometimes, but you have to run ads. So probably have to learn what is your best way to get to the customer. Once you figure that out, you have to get out there, start selling, because nothing is going to teach you better than that. All of this can be a mental thought exercise, but when you really sell to the end customer, you may realize whatever assumptions you had or whatever little feedback you got was all trash. And you may have to initially you may say I'll only sell on Amazon, it's a D2C brand. You may find out you may only have to sell on stores, or vice versa. So you really need to start selling, and initially at least it has to be you who's selling it. If it's a physical sale, you have to be the one taking the calls, doing the calls, etc. For the first few days, first few months, first few years, because only then will you learn from your customer what they really want, whoever your customer is. It may be the end customer, it may be the distributor, it may be whoever. If you don't do that, you'll miss out. And feedback, take feedback as you go, because if you don't take feedback and if you don't improve your product, again you will not get your repeat sales, because money is made on repeat sales, not the first sale.
So this is like
I want to add one couple of things along to what he said. One is staying in the pulse of the market and your customers is hugely important. Me and Aditya are still the people who go to every pension and sell our products. It's me and Aditya. We don't send our team members. Not that we don't want to, but I really want to know. I don't think at any point we'll grow to a scale, or at least knowing us today, I don't think we both will ever be like, okay, fine, our team can take care of it. No, me and Aditya will.
Either of us is probably going to go stand up. If not sell, also
we
just
stand
listen
there
and talk.
2-3 days. We go for pen shows and we go for stationery shows. If people hate us also, they tell it to mine and Aditya's face. Pavama, we stand there and they're like, yes, correct. And then if they praise us also, it's very good. But we listen to it, both of us personally. So that way we are able to bring back and pass it on to our team. Now this is something that is very important. And about feedback as you go bit, one addition I also want to have is, what feedback do you want to take and not take is also a little bit in your control. For example, a couple of things we receive is, why is your product so expensive? Why is your product not making the size of a notebook?
Actually, I wanted to ask you that. Why is it so expensive?
So I'll answer that question separately. I'll let him also answer that. But about taking feedback that is relevant also is quite important, because if they come and say, very simple example, in the notebook we make it in A5 size. You have no idea how many times in a year people come and ask us, why don't you make it in B5 size? Why don't you make soft cover size? Why don't you make it within the Mari layout? அந்த மாதிரி ஒவ்வொருத்தரும் ஏதோ நாங்கள் ஒரு டெய்லர் மாதிரி he'll come and ask, எனக்கு சட்டை இப்படி தச்சு கொடு, சட்டை அப்படி தச்சு கொடு. It won't work. That is where business sense has to kick in into you, because if you start giving into feedback also has to be differentiated on what is relevant and what will actually help the thing grow. If someone comes and gives me feedback, இந்த கலர் எனக்கு பிடிக்கல, எனக்கு பச்சை கலரில் பண்ணி கொடுனா, there will probably be one guy who likes in பச்சை கலர். Appada where that's where the instinct of your own business acumen will come into play, and you pick out what to. But most often, you will, if you take an average out of all the feedback, you will clearly see which is the
You'll see
priority
patterns.
list. You will see patterns. If someone repeatedly comes and tells, எனக்கு வந்து let's say silver color clip பிடிக்கல அப்படின்னு வந்ததுன்னா, like some 8 out of 10 complaints will be that only. Nobody, and the one car customer will be like, எனக்கு silver ரொம்ப பிடிச்சிருக்கு, ஆனால் எனக்கு இப்போ ரெட் காரில் பண்ணி கொடுங்க. That is a feedback you might not want to take. But you need to figure out that bit. I'll answer that question of premium pricing. The thing is, pricing is a very, again a requirement I would say, is part of the design requirements, because sometimes product need to be expensive to both serve the right customer and also to set expectations right. Now if I sell a very good product at a very cheap price, that's also a strategy. I can sell a very shitty product at a very expensive price also. You can do either ways. But the question is, a sweet spot if you meet, that's when your profitability and revenue just shoot up like crazy. So when you are working with pricing as a structure in your business, first and probably the most important, please focus on profitability. Please focus on survival. Preferably comfortable survival. ஏன் சொல்றேன்னா, you will inevitably be driven to pure survival mode many times in the year without, no matter how much you control it. Monsoon might come, godowns might shut, you will still have to go into bare minimum. So at that time, if you're not able to have like enough padding to survive, your business won't survive that winter. So you need to absolutely focus on what is required for you to survive the company. So you cannot come and say, no, first my focus is on revenue. That's also a strategy which many companies have played. It's a very dangerous game. That is where risk-taking abilities, the industry makes a difference. Like today when you're in an industry in AI, you can take any amount of risk, people will fund you. But if I go and tell I'm going to make very different underwear, nobody's going to give me that kind of money. So thing is, you need to figure out whether the pricing, you need to build your margins very sensibly. If you should build your pricing model in such a way you will survive the worst part of the year for a reasonable amount of time. Of course, you cannot survive, make it like, oh, if I sell this notebook for 10,000 rupees, I'll survive for 5 years. No, that's stupidity. What I'm talking about, something is like maybe like a 3-month runway or a 6-month runway or a year runway, whatever you can sustain mentally. If
Which is ideal, like say industry
different
standard.
depends for businesses.
They're very specific.
Very
to industry.
specific.
No, for example, a 20-year-old who is selling his products in Amazon only.
Yeah.
He doesn't go to retailers.
Yeah.
Retail is a different game because it needs credit and everything. Those are there.
Yeah.
But Amazon is different. Amazon, Flipkart, only online e-commerce is doing it.
Yeah.
So what kind of runway is an ideal for an e-commerce?
Again, depends on the particular product line.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the thing is, for example, Amazon takes I think 25, 30, sometimes.
Or let's put it this way, leave the runway. Let's talk about profitability.
Yeah.
How much percentage of profit, net profit, is ideal for a young startup who started by a 20-year-old company for an e-commerce company?
It doesn't work. There is no one right answer for it. It's very industry specific.
Bootstrapped. I mean, again.
Again, very industry specific. Let's say you have a competitor that's working on 3% margins. You can't expect to have 25% margins if everything is everything is similar. So
No, but then that gets washed out in the first stage itself, right? When you benchmark.
That's an example. Okay, let's say it's 15%, and if you are hoping to have 40% margins, it's unlikely because your input costs will more or less be the same. 80-90% be the same. You can't expect to have 45% margin when your competitor has 15%. That gap won't.
The competitor would have much more lesser because of his volume and all those things.
Yeah. So but let's say you're getting started. You want people to buy your product. Initially, for the first few days, you'll have to struggle with keeping a slightly lower margin also than him, just to get into the market. So it's something that they have to figure out on their own based on their overheads. That's one of the biggest things. How much
So
is
that's
your
what
expense?
it's very interesting here, because you take Endless for example. You have a premium stationery product where there is Reynolds, where there are a lot of companies which are selling 10 rupees pen also. You have a competitor. I don't know whether they are your competitors, but as a market, if you see, they are bigger players in the market, and definitely you cannot have the cost advantage what they have because of their volume. You have lesser volume, but still you are pricing it premium.
Yeah.
How is that working out?
That goes in two ways, Rizvi. So one is what the customers expect in terms of pricing also. When we are selling a very well-designed product, you can charge what it deserves. There is nothing wrong with it. Customers are also fine with paying it. Like they won't come into Amethyst and Gopalapuram and expect 10 rupee tea. You want to get it outside next to Satyam, but you're paying. You know you're coming
But
there
then
to spend.
that amethyst gives that kind of an experience also.
Exactly. So that's what makes it. So customers also drive a lot of the pricing decision. Second, you also need to understand what kind of customers you want to cater to. Now, if you sell it to only like a 10 rupees tea consuming person, a very expensive oolong tea from I don't know from China or whatever, they won't care about it. You need to understand that you want to sell to the customer who's sitting in Taj or sitting in Savera or something like that. So you need to understand how your customer base, which customer base you want to target. Literally, simply by pricing your product rightly, you will end up in the right store or not. For example, in Chennai itself, my products don't sell in I don't know, variety center or some tiny stationery store next to SBOA or DAV, or those tiny shops will not take my product, and I'm okay with that because I'm not making it for school students. I'm not making it for everyday office goers. I mean, I'm making it for everyday office goers. I'm not talking about the blue collar segment. I'm not talking. They are not my target audience. My target audience is people who go to Hindustan and all this. Now, Hindustan or all these bigger shops or whatever will take me, William Penn, all these people will take me only when I also provide a certain price point, because that's when I build really good margins for them also. 10 rupees
That's the point. Like, because you understood the customers and what customers needs and how much price how much margin they would need.
Correct.
So you reverse engineered and worked out your
100%.
costing.
That's always the better. And you preferably have to build in for like disaster. You have to build in for survival. But again, nobody is going to figure it in the first run. We still haven't figured out many of our product lines. Certain product lines are very good profit. Again, it's not going to be a company-wide strategy. Certain product lines will do really well.
Yeah.
Certain, for example, the margins we make on ink will not be the same on the pen, not be on the pouch, will not be on the notebook. It's again very dependent on the product lines also. Again, that's where it becomes a very complex game, and over time it evolves. Your pricing, you have to adjust for inflation. You have to adjust for your manufacturers' inflations. You have to adjust for now tariffs. You have to adjust for geopolitical situations as well. So how will you account for all this? It's an evolving strategy. Pricing is not a joke. That's why people have CFOs in company whose literally full-time job is to look into these aspects. If you want to add any.
And so the customer has to perceive the value. So you can charge, let's say you say this is worth $100. The customer is going to look at your competitors, probably not look at your competitors, see what materials. They'll say it has a steel nib, it doesn't have a gold nib, I'm not going to pay $100 for it. So customer has to perceive that value. Or you may come up with some special coating that's not there anywhere else in the world. It may not cost you anything, but the customer now perceives that you really have put in extra money to put in that special coating which he's not getting anywhere. So perception of value has to be managed very well when you're pricing products. And this is something you need to keep speaking to customers to understand what the pulse of the market is. And obviously, no customer is going to say, I want to pay more. They are always going to say low value.
I want cheap.
Yeah, I want it cheap. So you have to put your sensibilities beyond a point to understand where the perception of value is, and you have to experiment. You launch a product, you see at $60 it's selling well, great. You know $60 is a good price point. At $95 the same product is not selling, you probably have to discount it and sell. You have to be extremely flexible. You can't stick to your decision because you're never going to get it right in the first place. Be flexible about what your perception is. Be flexible about what you're hearing from the customers, because that also changes over time. What we were doing 5 years back is not what we're doing today, and if we stuck to that, we would be dead by now. So just need to be very, very adaptive to what's happening around you.
Awesome. So we have spoken outside this podcast about your Kickstarter campaign, which really worked out, and you're one of the only Indian companies in stationery segment to get into Kickstarter. Please share that experience and how 20-year-old, if somebody have solved a problem, has an MVP, has a good product, and who wants to crack an international market to sell his products. So how well this Kickstarter and crowdfunding will work out for him?
Yeah. So again, multiple ways to start a company. You can bootstrap it, you can take funding, you can borrow from family, so many different ways. But technology has enabled us to explore this wonderful method called as crowdfunding, which is basically taking money from customers in advance to build your product, which is very dangerous but also very cool. I have to give full credit where it's due. One of our investors suggested this idea to us a few years ago, and we thought we were a little wiser and didn't do it. But we ended up doing it, and it was one of the best. Special thanks to Yega for helping us do this in the first place. But Kickstarter is an excellent, Kickstarter and there are certain other platforms as well, are excellent way to raise funding for your idea with an MVP. Of course, I would not be I would be remiss if I say that it's like the only thing that's necessary, because MVP Kickstarter customers expect MVP விட or a level or 2 levels higher for the promotional level, but Kickstarter customers are tuned, habituated to the fact that it's not going to arrive exactly as you're seeing in the image. It'll probably be better, and here is someone just trying to launch it or whatever. Either Mari, there are some. So Kickstarter as a platform allows for change, allows for delayed deliveries, allows for promises which may not happen in the end, allows for you to experiment a little bit more and things like that. Having said that, Kickstarter launch Pandrat is not an easy option today. Probably when it began, Cards Against Humanity is one of the very famous Kickstarter projects. Peak Design Bags are a very huge Kickstarter project. A lot of other important companies have come out of Kickstarter as an origin. Baron Figgins as a notebook company also. They also started on Kickstarter.
Pebble smartwatches.
Pebble smartwatches.
Pebble,
Started,
yeah,
yeah.
Pebble is one of the
Smartwatches started,
famous.
exactly. It's a
Biggest success
crowdfunded
story.
because one of the biggest successes of Kickstarter. So the thing is, you need to understand that when you are getting on this platform, you also now, today's scenario, today's climate is you have to spend a lot of time promoting it. Now, I wouldn't go so far as to say that the only way to succeed is by promoting. We spent a considerable amount of time understanding how brands promoted there. There's a lot of strategies that are involved. If you want like stratospheric results on your campaign, there are definitely certain things that you need to do. But for a 20-year-old who's just starting his or her first product, I do not think that they need to think this through that much. If they're able to make an MVP, very simple off the top of my head, you make a very good MVP, make a lot of videos, put it in the hands of influencers, get on Reddit, do some Facebook ads with some bare minimum amounts, like couple of lakhs at best, or even like some, not even that much, 50, 20, 1 lakh, kilo, whatever you can spend. If you can't also, we'll figure out, we'll use ChatGPT. Use these strategies, and let's say, for example, to make this pen, this particular project, we had a certain target, we achieved and overshot the target by a very large number, and we are happy. For your product, it might not be necessary. Your product can launch with even $100, hypothetically. It's target for $10,000 on that, right? Because that everything that you get after that is a bonus. That way, the advantage with Kickstarter is that you'll also get. Honestly, you told us that that we've also won an award, and
yes, I wanted to give a shout out for that also.
Yeah.
Congratulations for you, because you won that India's Best Design Awards for having the best in-house design segment.
Yeah.
And I think along with you, Renault Design Center Chennai has won at par with you. So Renault is a legacy brand, and winning that award along with them, and I'm really super proud to say to my students and to the people watching this podcast that I know two guys who are my friends who won this award. I all the best to you, and all the best for your future.
Thank you.
And we are hoping really interesting products to come out of. And definitely, you guys will become the next Apple from India.
Thank you so
Don't need to become a next Apple or become the endless from India.
Of course,
Yes, absolutely.
Endless pursuit of becoming endless from India.
Yeah.
So Kickstarter on the other hand, for us, honestly, winning the award is a very, very cool thing. But again, the peers who appreciate awards are also very limited. It's not everyone who understands an award.
True.
My mom doesn't know the award. She's like, oh, nice, good. I'm like, okay, thanks. So you get it. Versus Kickstarter as a platform, you get to direct customer will tell you, hey, this product sucks. Hey, this product is great. Hey, I want this product. Customer send us means we can't wait for this product. We also. but then it's so nice to hear such messages, right?
But then you delivered all of the.
Yes, dispatches are going on as we speak.
As we speak.
We are done with almost 70-80% of the deliveries already. We are moving.
How is the feedback now?
Feedback has been so far good. Of course, as with any product, there are teething issues. There are problems to solve always. But again, it's not like it's nowhere close to like a failure or anything. We just have to solve certain problems. Pens are functional. Improvements need to be made. That's a never-ending process, whether you do it on Kickstarter or otherwise. So Kickstarter has been a huge success for us. We are the one of the very few Indian brands who have gotten on and made such a huge success. Probably the largest Kickstarter fountain pen in the last few years, and bunch of things like that were very helpful for us in terms of gaining customer trust, and that helped us, use that as even as a marketing vehicle. That is probably one of the bigger things. Kickstarter and platforms like this help you seed a lot of trust in the customer who has no context on you. So some tech savvy person can look at the thing, oh, hey, they won on Kickstarter. Oh, that's very cool. and then at least then they'll be like, oh, if this guy's worked on Kickstarter, then the product must be good. It's like you gain value and reputation by association itself.
The
So this helps.
user validation, like you
Yeah,
get a,
this is the best, honestly, one of the best ways we can do. And we'll keep receiving it for as long as the product in the market, we'll be receiving some feedback or the other. We are always open to hearing in them and bettering our products. That's always been our strategy. But yeah, that's how Kickstarter works. And of course, there are a lot more inner mechanics which varies according to industry, which varies according to product. Kickstarter, for example, launches a lot of indie games like paper card games. Cats versus Kittens versus Exploding Kittens is from there. Now, the making cost of printing paper is nothing. You can get it done in your nearby photocopying shop.
yes.
So, like, what are you telling me in terms of capital? But look at the money it made, right? It's about the idea. So now that person did, or Cards Against Humanity. It's one of the most famous adult party games that exist. Now, you don't need any money to print cards, man. You can literally just, you can in fact mail them the PDF and be like, print it at your shop, and it's just all. That's all there is to it. But the money that they made. So these are all like very, very cool things to come out of this platform. You can do high grade tech products like Pebble watches, mid grade tech products like ours, which don't require any electronics, and you can do even card games. So
It's like giving all these examples. Like for a 20-year-old, I think this is the right time to be in and getting ideas, getting validation, getting the feedback, and in whatever you shared so far, there is not even one time you spoke about money.
to launch, you don't need money.
Which is least required.
To
The
launch,
only
yes.
thing required is the intention and the effort to go and search for it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, so basically money is required beyond a point. So it'd be very it'd be very wrong to say that you don't require any money. You need a minimum basic money. Sometimes underfunding of a project. Let's say I want to make an electric motorcycle and I say I have just 50 lakhs. I have just a crore. It'd be a joke. You know, you need to also understand that some things require some more money. But like Dheeraj said, if you only have 25,000 rupees, what can you do best? You can make a cards game, you can make a board game, you can make something that is more intellectual and that does not require too much money, or you can try and get the rest of the money from Kickstarter. Your prototype can come in whatever money you are talking about, 25,000, 30,000 rupees. So it's possible. But depending on the scope of your project, you really need to understand, is the money you have enough? You shouldn't go try and shoot beyond your capacity without understanding what more is required. That is something, a reality check is needed.
That kind of common sense is required.
Common sense is required, which is not very common.
Yes,
So,
common sense is not very common now.
But with Kickstarter, you can do so much as a designer, as a student. There are so many concepts that you make as part of your projects, etc., and you really think people need it. Again, voice of the customer. If your customer needs it, he will come and fund you on Kickstarter. He may fund your molds worth tens of thousands of dollars, and may become a full-time company, a full-time business, etc.
But again, that also is at very minimum cost. You are getting that user validation.
Absolutely,
A
user
very
validation and the money capital to make
Capital
the product
to make the
after
product. If you don't get it, nothing is going to.
There's one Kickstarter campaign where they sold designs that could be 3D printed as the Kickstarter campaign.
Yes.
Let him
Lots
talk
of them,
about that. Yeah.
Oh.
So there are these people who play Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that. So they love to have these figurines which they play with. So not one actually.
You remember the maker cabinet board thing?
Yeah, that
guy
also,
literally open source
correct,
design.
Open
That's
source
it.
design. So open source designs, 3D printable open source designs have Kickstarters that have done $40,000-$50,000. That's 30-40 lakhs easily.
He didn't even ship the product.
Yeah.
There's no product.
There's a
just
STL
selling
file he's
designs.
giving you.
He's giving you a STL file.
But he's adding value to someone. He's doing something innovative. And also one very important thing is the products on Kickstarter are usually very innovative. They're slightly different from your run-of-the-mill products. You can't just take another pen, nice looking pen design and try and put it on Kickstarter. It's very unlikely it'll run. The designs he was making over there, those boards, etc., those are actually crazy. They were unseen before. And probably not worth anyone else's time until he made it. So the innovative
the stuff that you can't see it in Amazon will be in Kickstarter.
Yeah.
very likely.
Very likely.
Pebble smartwatch. No one had smartwatches
Yes.
didn't exist,
Ah.
and no one would fund him because there was no precedent to make a smartwatch. He went on Kickstarter, he made it, and he somehow delivered it, and that's all. So concepts can really become a reality there.
Awesome.
That's
awesome.
that's just one. Again, that's just one of the routes. Doesn't mean you shouldn't make a pretty pen. Just find your route.
Yeah. Don't put it on Kickstarter. It's just a pretty pen.
So I hope you guys enjoyed this show, and we got really good insights, and it was very much about learning, and we all went back to learning what is design and what is design has to do in business. Thank you so much for coming, and again, once again, congratulations to you for getting India's Best Design Award, and I hope maybe next year or down the line you will get Red Dot Award as well. And also eventually you will become a unicorn status company in India, hopefully, but shipping everything to outside India. Try to sell something in Chennai in India also.
We are available in Nungammakam. Anyone can just come and buy a product.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having
Thank
us.
you so much.